Krishna was that kind of a man, that he's undefeatable. No matter what is done to him. There were many situations where he could have been killed. He staked his life any number of times. Consciously staked his life. Out of his skill, his wit, his intelligence, and above all, his divine bearing got him out of those situations. But still, death was not far away from him many, many times in his life. When Jarasandha was hugely insulted, one thing because Krishna killed Kamsa, another thing when he tried to attack Mathura, Krishna and Balarama left and hid themselves on a mountain. Jarasandha and a few other kings pursued Krishna. And they went and sat on top of a very steep mountain where the horses or chariots could not go. They had to hike it up, really climb steep rocks. There was a small tribe of people who are known as the Garuda tribe. They were known as Garuda. Garuda means an eagle. Because when they went to war and at certain rituals, all the men in the tribe wore bird-like masks, so they were known as the Garuda tribe. So they went and took shelter there. But now Jarasandha and a few of his allies with a small contingent of soldiers, if they tried to go up the hill, which they tried, all they had to do was take a few boulders and throw it down, because it was a very steep path. Not knowing what to do, they tried to lay siege to the mountain, which was very difficult. And they had enough food on the top, so they stayed. So they set fire to the mountain. The grass was dry in summer, the bush was dry, so they set fire hoping to kill everybody on the top. But once again, he used his understanding of the terrain so well, and an ancient dam-like structure that was built, a dike-like structure that was built to stop the onslaught of the tidal waves. He took the whole tribe there and pulled down that dike and allowed the water to flow. And then came down and surprised these people and defeated Jarasandha. He could have killed him there, but he did not kill him, because he did not want to kill him in a personal quarrel. He wanted to kill him later, but he did not want to kill him on a personal quarrel. He wanted to kill him for the right reasons, so he let him go. Jarasandha, who was known to be a great warrior and the emperor who had the ambition of conquering the whole world, or Aryavarta as it was known, was hugely insulted that his life was spared. If he was killed, it would have been okay. This 18-year-old boy defeated him and spared his life, and everybody came to know about it. He just couldn't bear that insult. So he vowed that till Krishna is dead, I will not rest. So he gathered all his allies and tried to converge on Mathura. And this time he decided, Krishna or no Krishna, he is going to slaughter all the Yadavas, the whole community, he wants to raise them out. A few other kings also had this intention. They wanted to make the world Niryadava, that means free of Yadavas. They wanted to commit a complete genocide of this community of people. They wanted to raise them out of the planet. So big armies started converging on Mathura. Krishna had no choice. Even if he leaves, still they will kill the people. So, all the people became desperate and they started cursing Krishna. It's all because of you. You did impertinent things. You killed Kamsa, you disgraced Jarasandha. Because of this, none of us will be spared now. So people started hurling insults and abuses at him. All these days, when he won those battles and killed the tyrant, it was hugely appreciated and worshipped. Suddenly the same people turned around and accused him that for your vanity, for your fun, you put all our lives to risk and now all of us have to die. There is no way. Huge armies are converging upon Mathura. They won't leave a man, woman or child. They will slaughter every one of us. So, the Yadava chief started saying, let the men stand up and fight till the last man. Women and children, they wanted to gather them and set fire to them before the enemy comes. So Krishna tried to speak to them. There could be another way, but nobody was willing to listen. Suddenly he was not wanted there. So, he tried to do the last possible thing. He handed over his diadem, his peacock feather, his bow, his sword, everything to Uddhava in the night. And he said, I'm leaving. This is the only way. I will go and allow Jarasandha to have the pleasure of killing me whichever way he wants. I will just beg him to spare the others. And he went away into the forest. All his life, his whole life was committed for the well-being of these people. Now the same people just turned around and accused that it is only because of him all the suffering has come. He is not beaten down or defeated, but it left a pain, a dab of pain in him. He spent the night in the forest, meditating and looking if there is some way. If people are not willing, he did not see any way. So, there were certain things that he has to fulfill within himself before he leaves. So he was wanting to spend a little time to do those things. In the meantime, Balarama and Uddhava and Ugrasena, the old king, they said, we cannot leave Krishna like this. Without him there is no hope. Anyway we are going to die. But if he is here, there is some spirit in us, some hope in us. Even that little spirit and hope that we have is lost because he is gone. And there was a huge overflowing of emotion among people. Slowly it built up into a pitch, and then they sent a posse of people to search for Krishna in the forest. After much search, they located him in a lonely place. Uddhava found him in a condition that nobody had ever seen him. For the first time, he allowed another human being to see him in pain. But the moment he was informed that people are longing to have him back and find a way, if there is a way, he immediately came back and decided to take the whole population and make an exodus out of Mathura to a faraway place on the coast to go and build a new city in Dwaraka. Once again, when he was taking his people, this is over 2,200 kilometers trek, young, old, cattle, horses, things, whole population. A part of the journey is through the desert. But he pushed on because invading armies were right behind. And a point came where there was a river to be crossed. He had everybody crossing, himself, Uddhava, and non-Yadava helping people like servants were left this side. And because of heavy rain, suddenly the river started raising and they could not cross. And they noticed one of Jarasandha's allies, his name was Kala Yavana, an extremely beastly king, known for his cruelty, had camped just 2 days away. It did not look like the river will recede in the next 2 to 3 days. So people said, after all they're helpers, servants, let's leave them and go. Let's not risk our lives. Krishna said, no, we cannot leave them. Then what to do? Because if these people are here, if the army comes, they will ask questions and find out. Let's kill them. The other Yadava chief suggested, let us kill all the servants here, because if you leave them alive here, they will speak. They will tell them that we have gone this way, and the army will catch up in no time and slaughter all of us. Krishna said, no such thing will be done. Let me see what I can do. You wait here, and when the river recedes, you go. I will go and distract Kala Yavana. And it was like certain death. He wanted to somehow go there and delay the process before, so that these people can cross over and the rest of the people can proceed further. So once again, he handed over everything that he had to Uddhava and said, if I do not make it, which mostly I will not, what he should do when they get to Dwaraka, the few things that they need to take care of, who should lead the group, what they should do to build this city. And one more request he made. Rukmini was waiting for him. That was his first wife, yet to be married. He said, Rukmini, don't leave her there. They will marry her off to one of Jarasandha's cronies. She cannot live there. She will kill herself. So no matter what happens, you people go there and somehow get her out of the situation. Do just this one thing for me. And again he went back to Kala Yavana, really put himself into death's jaws. But somehow, as fate would have it, certain things worked out and he managed to kill Kala Yavana and come back. When he came back, almost 3 months later, by then everybody had assumed that he's dead. And once he was dead, or they assumed that he was dead, suddenly they looked back and saw everything that he had done. And the first Krishna temple came up in Dwarka. They kept his headdress, his peacock feather and his discus and his bow as the deity and built the first Krishna temple. That was the first temple that happened. So when he was alive, he went through these things, faces of people worshipping him and praising him to glory, and faces of people turning against him and calling him a traitor, and so many things. And towards the end also many incidents happened which were absolutely frustrating for any human being. But still he said, if whenever I'm needed, I will be back. Krishna enjoyed a tremendous sense of love from people around him. An enormous amount of adulation and worship from people around him. But he also faced extreme moments of danger and disappointment. He went over all of it as if it was very simple, but the kind of situations that he was placed in is normally situations that would break human beings completely. Talking about the love and worship that he experienced around himself. And even there, he never missed an opportunity to make his point. He accepted every form of expression of people's love, no matter how it came. It came in sometimes people offering their whole kingdom to him, which he never took anyway. He never accepted those offers. But he appreciated that and told them how to bring dharma to their kingdom rather than handing it over to him. But what was most dear to him is not what people offered, but how deeply somebody felt. There are any number of stories to depict his discernment of what was of utmost value to him. You might have heard of stories of Kuchela, Sudama coming and those kind of things. These are very popular for those of you who come from outside the country. When he was studying with Sandipani, there's another boy whose name was Sudama, but who was nicknamed as Kuchela because he was just a bag of bones. He was from a very poor family, had no father. So boys made fun of him as Kuchela, that means just a bag of bones. But this boy was brilliant, so immediately Krishna recognized his quality and a deep rapport developed between them. Many years later, Kuchela's lot never improved. He remained an extremely poor man. His wife was pushing him, "Your friend Krishna has become such a big man. Why don't you go there and ask for something?" Kuchela said, "My friend is too dear to me. I cannot go and ask him anything." But she insisted. Then Kuchela thought, at least let him go and meet Krishna, it's been so many years. So when he was going, as a householder, he wanted to take some gift for Krishna. And he had nothing except just a handful of beaten rice. He tied it up in his cloth and he went. When he went to the palace gates where Krishna lived in Dwarka, and sent word. The guards just tried to push him away, looking at his physical condition and his clothes. But he said, please tell Krishna that Sudama has come. If he wants to see me, I will see, otherwise I will go. The moment the word went in that Sudama has come, Krishna just came running to the gates. He embraced him, took him inside, made him sit on the throne like his own seat, not really a throne, and shedding tears, he washed his feet. People could not believe that this beggar-like man from somewhere he has come and Krishna is making him sit on his own seat and washing his feet. Then Krishna asked, what have you brought for me, Kuchela? Because he knew Kuchela so well, he wouldn't have come without bringing something, but he's too ashamed to show this handful of beaten rice to Krishna, who's living in a palace. Kuchela was very hesitant and shameful about what he's brought. But Krishna insisted, what have you brought for me? Then slowly Kuchela opened this little bit of beaten rice that he's brought. Krishna ate with such gladness and he said, this has been the best meal I've ever had in my life. There are any number of incidents like this. One beautiful incident occurred. It was Krishna's birthday. There was a big preparation for a great celebration to happen and dance and music and everything prepared. Huge number of people have gathered because now he's a well-known person. But Krishna just sat in the house, not willing to participate. He is a game for any kind of celebration, but today somehow he's unwilling. So, Rukmini came and asked, what has happened to you, my lord? What is it? You are not participating in the celebration. Krishna said, oh, I have a headache. We don't know whether he really had one or not. Maybe he had one, but he's capable of feigning one. Rukmini said, let's call the physician. Doctors came. They tried to give this medicine, that medicine. Krishna said, no, all these things won't work for me. Then people asked, what should we do? By then, a lot of people gathered. Satyabhama came, others came, Narada came. What's happened? What's happened? Everybody's showing some anxiety. Krishna has a headache. What should we do? Krishna said, somebody who really loves me, you must take a little dust off their feet and wipe it on my head, it'll become okay. Satyabhama said, what nonsense? I love you, but there is no way I'm going to take the dust off my feet and put it on your head. We cannot do such things. Rukmini wept. How can we do this? It's a sacrilege. We cannot do this. Narada backed off. I don't want to do such things, you are the Lord himself. I don't want to I don't know what is involved in this. We don't know what's the trap. I put the dust off my feet on your head and maybe burn in hell forever. I don't want to do such things. The word spread. Everybody was horrified. We are not going to do such things. We love him, all right, but we don't want to go to hell by doing such a thing. Then celebration is waiting for Krishna to come, but Krishna just sitting there with headache. Then the news went to Vrindavan, and the gopis came to know that Krishna has a headache and he needs the dust of the feet of someone who loves him. Radha just took her the pallu off, put it on the ground. All the gopis danced on it wildly and they gave it to Narada, "Take this and tie it around his head." When they brought this and tied it around his head, Krishna became all right and so what he valued most, he always made it clear. Though he moved among kings, kingdoms were offered to him free. He didn't take it, but this was most precious for him. He always exhibited that at all times in his life, wherever he got the opportunity. When it came to the unfortunate event of a major war, the Kurukshetra, where almost everybody in the subcontinent is aligned either this way or that way. It's like a fight to finish. He did everything possible to avoid it. When it did not happen, when it came to the inevitable situation of war, then he was back in his full flow. Now Arjuna, who has been burning with hatred and anger and wanting to avenge all the injustice that's happened to him, he lost his heart. He became desolate, just looking at the array of people in front of him, his brothers, his uncles, his guru, his dearest grandfather, most venerable Bhishma, so many friends and ordinary men. When he just saw, his heart just sank, killing all these people, where will I go? He became absolutely desolate. On the other hand, Duryodhana, he has gathered a huge army, much bigger than the army of the Pandavas. But he is desolate too because he's afraid that they have a common guru, Dronacharya, and a common grandfather, Bhishma. He knows Dronacharya and Bhishma loves Pandavas too much. And there are many other people who are on his side, but they have a deep bond with the Pandavas. So he is deeply afraid and desolate that these people may forsake him in the moment of battle. Out of their love for the Pandavas, they may not do enough. They may be willing to die, but they may not do enough to make him win the war. So he was in a different kind of turmoil and desolation. So this end, Arjuna was in deep desolation, that end, Duryodhana. In this moment of utter desolation and despair, that is when the Gita was spoken. If we want to go into the intricacies of the Gita, if we want to know with what context it was spoken and why it was spoken the way it was spoken, we must put ourselves into that. When such desolation had gripped Arjuna's heart and his bow fell out of his hand, a great warrior sank and he sat down in his chariot. Krishna with a bright smile on his face, facing a situation which in many ways is a complete destruction of all the work that he did his whole lifetime. His whole life was to bring peace to these hundreds of kings who had petty quarrels all these years, but now they assembled here for a fight to finish kind of battle. But he stood there with a bright smile and blew his famous conch Panchajanya, and the teaching of Gita began.